Why?
It's that we're skinnier than and prettier than me.
Because if I didn't have them at recess, I didn't have anybody else.
I'm not different. So it started off in elementary school. I was in the 5th grade, and there was this guy who thought it'd be great to call me names, make fun of me during class, the way I wrote, the way I dressed, the way I did everything or anything. He was always after me.
Throughout time, appearance started to matter more, so it was easy for kids that were skinnier than me and prettier than me to pick on me.
I was bullied back when I first came into my elementary/middle school person academy.
And for me, being so weak, I would say, not weak, but like unable to speak or defend for myself, I would always let it get to me. I was so sad in the 5th grade.
I felt very alone and depressed. I felt that it was unnecessary and it added on a lot of stress to things that I already had to stress over, like school and like family interactions.
So when I came in, everybody had their own group of friends and their own cliques, and it's weird saying this that it was in 1st grade, but I really wanted to be into one of those groups. So what I did was I joined this one group, and I remember they were a big group comprised of maybe around 10 kids, and I remember like I had to go through a sort of initiation process, I guess.
At one point, they had a secret meeting without me, and like a meeting to just talk about how the fact that I wasn't straight, and that it was a problem because they thought I was going to be looking at them and stuff like that. So they started all these rumors up, and for me that was so like, it hit me so hard because I was like, why? I'm not different.
Afterwards, pain. It's not something that can easily be forgotten.
What they did was that they made me do just basic nasty stuff when I couldn't do any of them, so they would just make fun of me. And they accepted me anyway because I was basically their punching bag. So I remember this particularly one time when we were out at recess one day, and I was challenged to do a race with every single one of them all at once. And I didn't want to be left out of the group because if I didn't have them at recess, I didn't have anybody else.
So it was like a bunch of guys and girls who thought it'd be great to talk about me and make fun of me for being who I am.
It's definitely better, and I think my past makes up the person I am today.
It was the first time when I felt comfortable with myself, but I had to hide myself.
And I remember going back inside, and then I said, wow, that was really unfair of you guys. And then one of the kids, they punched me in the gut. And I just remember like crying that day and going home to my mom and just like feeling just so about myself. And it just went on for the rest of first and 2nd grade. It's just them just constantly like putting me down, and then like me like being too afraid to tell my mom or my teacher because I was afraid that I would be lonely again because I didn't have anybody else at school. I just felt so helpless. I was stuck in between having to deal with all the pain they were dealing with me, and then having to deal with the fact that if I didn't have them, then I didn't have anybody else.
For another year, to be like, oh shoot, is it okay for me to step out of the closet one more time and give it a chance? Is it okay for me to be who I am?
Now that I look back on it, it's definitely something powerful and something that I resonate with other bully victims. I think that especially being in the 1st grade when it happened and coming into a new school is definitely something that affects anybody deeply because they're in their adolescence and they don't know any better. and then having to go through all of that is just kind of traumatizing, I guess. Now that I look back on it, I was actually became friends with with my bully back in 3rd grade, and we look back on it now, and like he's definitely changed since then. The entire group they broke apart like soon after 3rd grade, but they've definitely matured. But that's not. But they're not. They still recognize that what they did was like super wrong, and like they've like apologized for it.
Never feel as if you're alone. I never feel that the only way to know if someone cares for you is them reaching out to you first. I think if you are bullied and you are depressed inside about that, you should talk to someone that you truly trust. Like, never be afraid to like open up.
As a victim, I always think that you should stay strong. I guess that's basically my strongest advice. You've heard it before, but there's always going to be a light at the end of the tunnel. And I think that as long as you keep looking forward and you just keep like holding on to whatever you have, that you'll see something at the end of that tunnel, and that you find people that will support you and that will love you and won't make you feel lonely like you are when you're feeling bullied. I also think that you should go actively look out for that person who's there for you, whether it be your parents or whatever, and don't be afraid to ask them for help, because it is the most important thing that you feel cared for whenever you're being a victim of bullying. And I think that when you grow up and you look back on it, that you'll understand the importance of what it felt like to be around people that cares about you, and that you will go and prevent it from happening to other people that have also happened to them. So just stay strong.
At my school specifically, it's kind of hard to tell because everyone seems to be picking on everyone.
And there was this mentally ill child, and I just remember seeing him in the hallways, and he was like doing his own thing. He was drinking water, and I remember like just a group of three people were just coming up to him. They're all seniors, and they just like, they didn't smash his face in, but they just like, they basically like pushed his head down to the point where like his entire face would be drenched. And then when he pulled his face back up, like all that water just fell on his clothes and stuff like that. And I remember just watching, and this would happen every often, whether it be like every other day or every week or something like that. And I just remember just looking at him, and like the seniors were so much bigger than me, and I couldn't move, I couldn't do anything.
I stay out of it. Like, everyone is, I think they're intimidating because
I just didn't want to go back to my own days of being bullied, and I couldn't do anything. And at the time I just felt like I didn't connect with that dude anyway because he was mentally ill, and it's messed up, but I have to be honest. I couldn't do anything. And when I remember the following year afterwards, in my sophomore year, he was gone. So I couldn't do it.
Yeah, like my friends and I, we don't like play jokes on each other and stuff. We just like tease each other, I guess. Or like, yeah, sometimes I like say things that I don't really think about because it sounds funny in my head. And then it comes out, and then my friends are like, wow, that was kind of messed up. And I was like, oh, yep, you're right, sorry.
As I did what I did, which was absolutely nothing. At the time I didn't feel sorry for the kid, I guess, because what I thought was, oh, it's none of my business, or I'm just gonna get into it, like whatever else is gonna happen to me.
There's a few like students at my school that have like a reputation and stuff for being like aggressive. And those are the people that tend to get in the fights and stuff. And then I'm like, the teacher's pet or something, and I like, keep to myself, don't really talk to a lot of people. So I feel like if I jump in, it's like one out of character of me, sort of. Not to say like that I really care about that, but like it seems like really dangerous because they're like, for the people that I've seen fighting, like if you're gonna get in a fight in the first place, then like you're probably gonna have really strong feelings about what you're fighting about. So if someone's gonna try to stop you, then you're gonna try to like get your point across to them. And if it's physical, then you're gonna like do whatever. So I'm not trying to like get in the middle of that.
I thought about reporting it to a teacher a couple of times, or a lot of times actually, whenever I saw it happen. But I could never just will myself to do it. And there was this whole snitch culture going around in my school, and like I didn't want to be labeled as a snitch, especially to seniors who had a lot more, I guess, school cred than I did. So it was just hard for me. But I was thinking that I was just completely useless, and I just couldn't do anything about it.
I think like a bully is like someone that goes out of their way to make other people feel bad and stuff, or just it's like there can be like, you know, there's like a bully where they're like known for being a bully, which is like the person that goes out of their way to make people feel bad, or there's certain situations where you just so happen to be a bully for like a moment, like you accidentally make someone feel bad and you didn't realize it. In my case, you know, with the people at my school, I don't get involved because I feel like, let's say there's a fight, for example, right? I'm not gonna get in the middle of the fight because then they're gonna fight me and I know I'm gonna lose and stuff. And then if I go get a teacher or something, then they're gonna be like, wow, you're a snitch, and then they're gonna fight me, and I don't wanna be in the middle of that. So if you're in my shoes, then do what you gotta do to, like, you know, keep yourself safe, but also if you have the opportunity to be an upstander, then do that. A bystander, I guess, is someone that like sees bullying or sees like something happen and doesn't do anything about it. It makes sense and stuff. I frown upon bystanders too, but like, you know, sometimes you don't know what to do, so you don't do anything.
Now that I look back on it, I totally feel just absolutely terrible about it, but it's still something I'm working on.
I think I probably have, not gonna lie. I feel like a lot of people have. Sometimes it's more of an insecurity that you have yourself and you want to make yourself feel better, so you compare yourself to someone that you think is lesser than you, and it's not right, but at the moment it feels okay.
It was back when I was in 7th grade, and I was in a summer program, and I remember feeling very up top because it was my second year and there were a bunch of first years coming in. I remember having a superiority complex over them, and what I did was I would just like use my authority as a second year, or what I thought I had as a second year, to just say whatever I did was better. And I remember having like maybe 25% of the counselor just like hating me because I was bashing on them for no reason. I would point out all of their mistakes that I made in my first year, and it was just I didn't reflect back on it until very recently, that I know what I did was wrong, and I still haven't apologized for any of it.
I have seen plenty of fights at my school, and normally I try to intervene, stop them from carrying on or happening in the first place. My friends and I, we tease each other a lot, but jokingly. I think it's a normal thing that happens in friendship. But I realize that sometimes, from my personal experience, it can go too far. I've been, it's happened to me before, and so now that I think about it. Yeah.
Yes, I feel like some people sometimes don't really think about what's being said. Like, I can be very straightforward and be like, hey, I don't like that, you know, or whatnot. And they could be like, oh no, you're being like, you're harassing me or something, you know. But that's, if they misunderstand, then yes. I'm usually very honest. I don't like bullying people just because of my own experiences.
Not really, no. The only thing I would say is that bystanders are looked down upon only to try and get other people to act in a situation like that. And I think that courage is the most important factor in a scenario like that.
No, I don't. Those people who stand aside are people who don't know what to do sometimes. Yes, we're taught in school to stand up and just report things that go on, you know? But those people, it's like they freeze up. They don't know what to do. And some of them are like intentionally just standing there because they want to laugh with everyone. But I don't have something amazing or great. I'm just like anybody else. I just understand the pain. That's what makes it different. But if you were to compare me to one of those people, I'm not different from them. I'm exactly the same.
Yeah, I know that bullying is frequent at a lot of schools, and I know that our school isn't the only one. Our school probably doesn't even have close to the amount of fights other schools have. But you know, bullying will always be around. There are efforts that you can go to kind of achieve, less bullying. Yeah, but I'm not really sure what that would be. I just think it's time for, everyone to stop, have a discussion, whether it be in school or out of school, and, talk like these questions, ask their kids, maybe the parents ask their kids if they're a victim or if they are a bully. Maybe, they might not respond truthfully, or if they're a bully, they probably wouldn't. But I feel like if you start addressing these topics, then maybe they'll come to realize maybe if they are a bully, what they're doing and the impact they're having on other students' lives.
Usually it's all like, hey, I don't know what to do. What do I do? Because they're still young. Like, I don't want to say, oh, we're older, but they're trying to figure out what to do. Some cases have been like sexual harassment. Some cases have been just like online name calling and so on forth. It's just usually like, okay, if you're afraid to do this, I'm gonna go confront the person, and if they don't admit to it, then we're gonna go straight to like an admin so they can look into it more, because I can't do so much about it.
It definitely takes a lot of courage. I feel like I've always felt that it's the right thing to do and that it's just helps out, but I know that not everyone has the same mindset as me. So there are different ways you can help. I feel like maybe not intervening is definitely one way to go about things, but it could, get you harmed in the way if you try to block a fight. But then again, if you, run to tell a faculty member or staff or someone who could handle it better, you're wasting time in which more violence could be caused. So I don't think there is one simple solution, but I think that any way at all that you could stop fighting bullying, whether it's before the situation or, during, after, I think that it's still a huge help, yeah.
Usually it's like, let's make sure you get them help as soon as possible. Because for me, one rule I live by is like, never let anybody go through what I've gone through. Like, for me, it's like never, because what I've seen and what has happened to me personally, I don't want anybody who's younger than me or older than me to go through those things. So for me, it's all like, make sure they get the help, make sure that whatever is going on stops, because the emotional pain and like trauma that can come from bullying it has a large impact on life.
In simple terms, I'd say that an upstander is someone who stands up to bullying.
That I did something good and that I saved somebody else from going through potentially what I've been through, and that since I saved another one, I can continue doing the same thing, because as I said before, the mental issues that come from being bullied, they have a large impact on life.
Yeah, I think that they should know that they're doing a good thing and they're helping the world by doing what they're doing.
Do it because you're saving a life. Sometimes that bullying can go too far, and sometimes you can lose your best friend over it. And just take the chance. That's one thing that I'm always gonna say. Just take the chance. You're saving a life at the end of the day. Because sometimes I look at situations that I've stood up for people. I'm like, if I didn't help them, they could have been the next person not being here anymore. They could have taken their life, So I'm always like, okay, just do it.